Hey everyone, it's the Magic Jellybean, the one and only Jellybean you'll ever witness in this lifetime. Welcome back. I have a special video for today. Why? Because one of my video cards died, so I haven't been able to really edit anything, so I was like, you know what? Might as well show off, what I'm working with here. Not that it's much, to today's standards, but it is, very decent. So I'm gonna get right into it. So what I have in front of me here, and I'm doing a commentary, so I'm not necessarily, talking as I'm shooting the video. I just have a list out of what I want to talk about. So the first thing I'm showing off here is my main desktop. This thing I basically use as my workstation. I've got a VPN at home, so a lot of times what happens is I end up remoting into this desktop, but this is basically where I store everything. So as far as specs are concerned, I've got really 4 or 3 hard drives running in here. One of them is an NVMe SSD. It's a Samsung 970 Pro, 512 gigabytes. Got it half off on eBay. It was a real steal. The other SSD, the Samsung 970, I use that just for my operating system, and then I split it up. I only use 100 gigabytes for the operating system, and what I do is I back up all of my application executables. And usually whenever I install stuff on my computer, if it gives me a choice, I'll put it in the other partition. That way, if I ever have malware or viruses, I can just reinstall my operating system on that partition for the OS without affecting any other part of the computer. So as far as the second SSD I have, it's a 2.5 inch. It's an Evo SSD. 500 gigabytes from Samsung, of course. I use that for all of my work. So whenever I want to whenever I upload a video and whenever I'm working on it, I'll always put the files I'm working on the SSD. That way in the program, the process is optimized to where I will have it reading from the 2.5 inch SSD, but it exports again to that separate folder I made on the 970 Pro. So it's very efficient. The third thing I have is I have a 4 gigabyte internal hard drive. It's a Western Digital Red, and I just basically use that for all my pictures, data stuff, and that's where I store, when I'm done with my YouTube content, that's where I store my videos. I actually keep my videos. I don't delete them once I upload them, because I want to have access to them and not just rely on YouTube for if I want to download a certain video. So I like to keep original copies of everything on this hard drive, as well as my personal data and stuff, and all that's partitioned out. And then I have an external hard drive. You'll see it on a docking station next to that little Western Digital passport that says IT with the orange sticker. That one I basically use to back up everything. I back up my operating system and I back up my partition data onto that 2 gigabyte docking station. And then I have the Western Digital, just in case something doesn't fit on a flash drive, I'll just stick something on the Western Digital. I also use it for backups as well, but it's mainly just to have a mobile device, that basically works in the sense of a flash drive for me. So as far as CPU, I run an i7 9700K. It's an 8-core. I used to run an i5 9600K, but then I upgraded to the i7 because I got tired of using 100% of my CPU on 4K videos. The i7 really helps me, not just rendering, but editing those 4K videos. It's a lot smoother and not as choppy at all. I upgraded also from a Sapphire Radeon R9 390X Tri-Fury, which is the overclocked 8GB edition. That thing really, it eats up so much power. I think it was, on max power draw, it draws 235 to 250 watts. So I upgraded to an EVGA, or EVGA, FTW Plus, the second generation of FTW, the GTX 1060 6GB version. It's 2 gigabytes less, but it draws only half the power. It draws 125 watts, and it also has a much higher base clock speed. Now the i7 and the EVGA can both overclock, but I don't ever do serious gaming on this computer, and I don't care about overclocking for video rendering because I usually render videos once a week. As you guys know, what I do is I'll go out and I'll shoot a bunch of pre-recorded video, and I'll usually shoot 3 or 4 videos all at once, and then I'll go back and I'll edit everything, and then I'll render it all at the same time. So my process is very streamlined, which is why you'll always see me putting out certain formats of videos in chunks. I'll do Field of Powers one week, and then maybe I'll do reviews the next week. It just depends. I also have an Asus Micro ATX motherboard, 64 gigabytes max RAM, pretty cool stuff. I'm running 32 gigabytes of RAM now. It's Kingston Hyper-Fury X. I believe 2666 megahertz. I'm going to upgrade to 64, just because I want to, not because I need it. I never really use more than 16 gigabytes when I'm rendering stuff. but I like to run virtual machines on this desktop as well. I've got a bunch of USB hubs because I've got a bunch of things plugged in. As you can see, I have I have a wireless mouse and so forth. And then I have an Asus PCIe AC68 network card. I don't have a gigabit down, but once I do, that card will be very useful. And for me, audio is a big deal. I believe that you can have the greatest video quality in the world, but if your audio quality is poor, you might as well not release the video. So I have actually, as you can see, if any of you were perceptive, I have two of the same headphones. They're both JLab headphones. One is wired and one is wireless. I haven't gotten one yet, but I'm actually going to add a Bluetooth adapter into one of my motherboard expansion slots, and so I just basically use my headphones, to mix the audio to make sure that it's all good. And now moving over to the laptop. This laptop, I don't really put much data on. I basically use it to remote into my computer whenever I need to grab something, whenever I need to grab a file, or sometimes, I'll be doing, like a lot of times when I make my thumbnails, I'll be doing it on my laptop when I'm not home. It has 32 gigabytes of RAM. I have an M2 in there as well, a 256 gigabyte M2 SSD, and I also have an internal 2.5 Crucial SSD, which is 500 gigabytes. Don't need a lot of space on this laptop. Like I said, I mainly use it kind of just for personal use, and whenever I'm working on the channel, like I'm updating the banner, because as you guys know at the top, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and so, whenever I get about 20 subs or so, I'll go to the top of the banner and I'll update the channel art, and that's pretty much what I do with my laptop. And sometimes what I do is I will actually remote into my computer to render and edit stuff, so I don't have to use my laptop. I can just remote to my computer. And last but not least, of course, is my actual physical workstation. As you can see, I've got multiple screens. They're all Asus, 24, 23, and 19 inch. I do plan on eventually moving to dual 4K monitors because, as you guys know, I actually render in 4K, but I never get to see the fruits of what I'm rendering. And that's pretty much my entire setup. And in the end here, I'm just going to put up my system configuration for my desktop. I'm not going to do it for my laptop because, honestly, like I said, most of the work I do is on my desktop and I just remote in. And obviously I've taken out a lot of information because I am paranoid when it comes to computer security. I have passwords that are over 25 characters long on all of my components, and that's just the way it's got to be. But I'm giving you all the information as far as the performance on my machine. So now you know what it's like behind the scenes, and that's pretty much the whole ring around. So make sure you like, subscribe, do your thing. That's what the cool kids do. And until the next time, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.